Welcome to Kohima, the capital of Nagaland. We're in the mountains, yeah, and it's not cold, but it's cooler here, so it's kind of nice. Praise God for that. I just one piece of advice I want to give to people is don't trust Google Maps here. Actually, don't trust Google Maps in India. I think seemingly, because yesterday I was looking for an ATM down in Dimapur, and there were places where it showed the ATMs. Trust me, there were none. I searched for an hour for an ATM, couldn't find. You need to ask people because Google Maps is useless. And here, Google Maps showed us we want to go to a viewpoint, and it showed us that we are supposed to turn here up a road. Now you can't see the road now, but like maybe after the end I will show you how it looks like. But it is a staircase going up. So, and that is not for walking, that is with a motorbike. So yeah, again, don't trust Google Maps at least. So I don't know, maybe they have a local maps that's better, but Google Maps is kind of useless here. Right, so we are busy still with Exodus and actually finished the reading part and the introduction part there in the Stone Garden in Dimapur yesterday. And so we are going to start now with verse 1. So Exodus chapter 11, verse 1. The Lord said to Moses, "Yet one plague more I will bring upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterward, he will let you go from here. When he lets you go, he will drive you away completely." Now here is kind of I would say, sort of a difficult kind of a moment. Okay, I spoke about it in the introduction part as well. It's difficult. Why? In a sense, because the previous chapter or previous episode ended with Pharaoh saying, "Don't come to me again, because if you do, you'll be killed." And Moses said, "You won't see my face again." And then in this chapter now, God's speaking to him and to tell Pharaoh that there's one final plague, right? One more plague that is going to come over Pharaoh. Now, and then God informing, we'll see it a little bit later, God informing Moses to tell the people to do something, and then Moses again speaking to Pharaoh, and then Moses leaving Pharaoh in anger. So the question is, and remember all of this was like the darkness, so was it still dark out there? And was it like so there's a number of I would say difficulties kind of here, which is I mean, a few solutions to this can be that ultimately, before he even went there, that God spoke to Moses, in whichever way God did it, we don't know. And that already these words were said to Moses, and it's only written down here now. Or it can be that while he was there with Pharaoh, or that Pharaoh, after Pharaoh said, "Get out of here," and Moses like, "Yeah, you won't see my face again," that at that moment, right, that God spoke to Moses, and then God informed Moses everything that is going to be told to him in this chapter, and then he spoke to Pharaoh, and then he left, something like that. I mean, the third option is that the leaving, "Don't come before me again," that is like for now or something. I mean, I'm trying to show you that this is kind of a difficult. It's difficult to exactly know. I would just say my brain here, from what I can read, from what I've read from the previous chapter, where it's like you don't appear, and how it states as if, right, you're not going to appear before me, at least not now, right? As if this kind of must have happened, and then the words is going to be said later that Moses need to tell to the people. It's not words that he's speaking to them and then he's coming back to Pharaoh, but that is just God informing him what is going to happen, that what he needs to do. He needs to finish here with Pharaoh, tell Pharaoh all of this, and then he will leave, go tell the people. So that's not kind of contradictory. It does not state here that God told him to, like, now, you're standing now in front of the people, you're speaking now to the people, and then you go back to Pharaoh, you tell Pharaoh this, and then you leave him in anger or something like that. This is not stated here. So if you put two and two together, if you put what happened in the previous chapter and not seeing my face again, the speaking here. So I would go for then the option of that Moses, as he is, after Pharaoh told him, you know, you're not going, don't come here again. You're like, and then God at that moment speaking to Moses, which way, ever way God did it. And then Moses informing or being informed, informing Pharaoh, and then leaving. So I would put things in that specific order, which would make for me a little bit more in contextual, more sense than leaving, coming, or well, leaving and then coming back or something like so. Leaving, speaking with the people, coming back to Pharaoh, and then leaving kind of again. I mean, ultimately, Pharaoh had to hear these words as well about that is going to come later in this chapter. So yeah, God just basically informing this one more plague that is going to bring upon Pharaoh, one more that would kind of imply the last one for now, at least, depending on. But God is saying the last one, so that I mean one more that would then imply the last one, and then God said after this plague, He'll let you go. Right? Not only is he going to let you go, but he's going to drive you out. And that's a little bit like a couple of 100 years before, Pharaoh drove out Pharaoh, understandably, drove out Abram after Abram's half-truth and this whole disowning basically his wife kind of idea, right? We've looked at that as well. So then he was driven out as well. And here they will be driven out too. But this time, there were plagues that came upon the people here, but a lot more. And there Pharaoh was seemingly less guilty than Pharaoh is for sure here. At least culturally less guilty there than he is here. And then, yeah, well, drive you away completely. It's like, get out of here. I don't want to see you again, right? So maybe one can as well from the seas, like maybe it was just supposed to be a 3-day journey out there. And now, because of all that happened, Pharaoh is just going to be so tired of you, he just want to get rid of you for good, which is actually ultimately the aim.